And then there is that terrible fire here in New York City where 8 children were killed, children of parents born in Mali, West Africa. Because New York is a sanctuary city that protects illegal aliens, the factor cannot confirm whether or not all these children were in the USA legally. What we can confirm is that 17 children were living in a row house along with 5 adults. That one of the men in the house had 2 wives, one upstairs, one downstairs, and that living conditions were chaotic and dangerous. After our report last night, I received this letter from Abraham in Houston. O'Reilly, it was despicable to hear you question the status of those children. I was a big fan of yours, but I'll never watch you again, and urge others who feel compassion for immigrants not to watch you as well. Okay, Abraham, but here's the no-spin truth, so listen up. Your so-called compassion helped kill those children.
Mr. Vickers, I mean, it must have caused you a lot of sadness, you being a Muslim, to see the protests in the Sudan and some people calling for the death of the woman who presided over the teddy bear incident. I mean, how did you feel about that?
Well, Bill, I think that you have made the classic mistake of stereotyping an entire group of people because of the extreme acts of a few.
But here's where you're wrong. The actions of a few, and look, with 1.2 billion Muslims all over the world, you're right. Most Muslims aren't killing people. But those who are, sir, are killing hundreds of thousands of people. You see, a small percentage of 1.2 billion can do grave damage, and they're doing it. They're doing it. And nobody's stopping them from doing it, sir. That's my point.
Well, Bill, my point is that that being the case, that's a statement about them, not a statement about Islam or about Muslims. And what you are doing and what your other guest is doing is saying that their actions should cause us to feel threatened by all Muslims. Well, and that's just patently ridiculous.
I very clearly said extreme Muslims. I said it 7 times. You know, yes, most Germans weren't Nazis, yet Nazism challenged the world, threatened the world. But most Germans weren't members of that party and didn't go in to subscribe to kill people, innocent people. You, sir, what you're doing is you're rationalizing, and you're not seeing the danger because you're emotionally involved in the situation. But Sudan is in charge of the case. They've incarcerated. Do you think it's right to put a woman, an elderly woman, middle-aged woman, in jail for 13 days for calling a teddy bear Mohammed? Do you think that's right?
Of course not. And
well, that's what the government did.
That is extreme, the government did that. And it does not represent Islam.
Well,
they're wrong.
Hold it. It's an Islamic government. It's an Islamic government in Sudan, sir. 250,000 people are dead in Darfur. A woman's in jail for 13 days. It's an Islamic government. That's what it is.
Down and let's discuss this. If we want to talk about extreme examples, we can look in this own country. We can look at some of the things.
You just won't confront the reality. You will make excuse after excuse after excuse. You will not confront reality. Exception, John Edwards took his desperate campaign to the David Letterman program last night. We'll play you a clip of that in a moment, but first some background. A few months ago, Mr. Edwards began using homeless veterans in his economic To America's propaganda pitch. According to Edwards, the U.S. economy is forcing veterans to live under bridges.
You see a very few Americans getting wealthier and wealthier. You see the biggest corporations in America's profits through the roof. ExxonMobil just made $40 billion. Record profits. Tonight, 200,000 men and women who wore the uniform of the United States of America and served this country honorably will go to sleep under bridges and on grates.
Now, that, of course, is nonsense. There's no linkage between the economy and the veterans. According to Joseph Califano, perhaps America's best expert on substance abuse, up to 90% of homeless vets are addicted or mentally ill. The economy, again, has nothing to do with it. This year, I was surprised, is that this ad equates the United States with the terrorists.
I said, I'm shocked that you're surprised, and basically just made the only point I wanted to make. Our current president now inherited a legacy from his father and inherited a political legacy that's responsible for training militarily, economically, and situating geopolitically the parties involved in the alleged assassination and murder of my father and countless of thousands of others. So I don't see why it's so surprising for you to think that I would come back and want to support.
It is surprising, and I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why it's surprising. You are mouthing a far-left position.
It was extremely intimidating sitting down in the studio because he's really tall. And like, dude, like he lords over you.
You see, I'm sure your beliefs are sincere, but what upsets me is I don't think your father would be approving of this.
Well, actually, my father thought that Bush's presidency was illegitimate.
Maybe he did, but I don't think he'd be equating this country as a terrorist nation.
Well, I wasn't saying that it was necessarily like that.
You
what
signed
I'm saying
this and it absolutely said that.
Jeremy was pretty cool during it, and he was giving his political views, which were very to the left of O'Reilly's.
And he said, "Oh, I don't really care what you think politically." And I said, obviously you do care, because A, you brought me on the show, and B, I told him that he uses 9/11 and sympathy with the 9/11 families and the lives lost to rationalize his narrow right-wing agenda. You evoke sympathy with the 9/11 families.
That's a bunch of crap. So I've done more for the 9/11 families, by their own admission. I've done more for them than you will ever hope to do. Okay. So you keep your mouth shut when you sit me exploiting those people.
You're not representing
and I never represent you. You know why?
Why?
Because you have a warped view of this world and a warped view of this country.
Well, explain that. Let me give you an example.
I'm not going to debate this with you.
Well, let me give you an example of parallel experiences. On September 14th. Here's
the record. All right. You didn't support the action against Afghanistan to remove the Taliban. You were against it.
Why would I want to brutalize and further punish the people in Afghanistan?
Who killed your father?
The people in Afghanistan didn't kill my father.
Sure they did. The Al-Qaeda people were trained there.
The Al-Qaeda people? What about the Afghanistan?
See, I'm more angry about it than you are.
So what about George Bush?
What about George Bush? He had nothing to do with it.
The director, senior, as director.
He had nothing to do with it.
So the people that trained 100,000 mujahideen who were extremists.
I hope your mom isn't watching this. I hope your mother is not watching this.
It's unfair for O'Reilly to evoke both my mom and my father in the interview, especially when I wasn't. You know, I mean, my mom is a grieving widow for a a violent, horrific turn in their lives. My dad was only 55. They were working people, working class, middle class. Like, they were not retiring for a while. And their life is basically destroyed. Their life together is destroyed, and destroyed in circumstances that I wouldn't wish on my worst enemies, including Bill O'Reilly.
Because that's it. I'm not going to say any more.
Okay.
In respect for your father,
September 14th, do you want to know what I was doing?
Shut up.
Please don't tell me to shut up.
In respect for your father, who was a Port Authority worker, a fine American, who got killed unnecessarily by barbarians.
By radical extremists trained by this government.
Respect
not
for
the
him.
People of America,
I'm not
the people, the ruling class, the small minority.
Cut his mic. I'm not going to dress you down anymore, out of respect for your father. We'll be back in a moment with more of the factor.
We're done?
We're done.
That's tomorrow. And that is it for us today. Okay, I don't know. Whatever it is, it's not right on the teleprompter. I don't know what that is. I've never seen that.
No, there is. We are going to do Sting, yeah.
Okay, but yeah, I can't read it. There's no words on it.
Okay. Ready? Sure.
There's no words there. To play us out. What does that mean? To play us out.
Sting is going to do. It's a video. Sting video.
What is
for credits?
I don't know what that means. To play us out. What does that mean? To end the show?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, go.
In 5, 4, 3.
That's tomorrow, and that is it.
Okay. In 5, 4, 3.
That's tomorrow, and that is it for us today. And we will leave you with I can't do it.
Okay.
We'll do it live.
Okay.
We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it, and we'll do it live. Right. Fucking thing sucks.
In 5, 4, 3.
That's tomorrow, and that is it for us today. I'm Bill O'Reilly. Thanks again for watching. We'll leave you with Sting and a cut off his new album. Take it away.